This is the NBC Television Network.
Awesome is the only word to describe NHRA's funny cars, like Ed McCulloch's, who is locked in a head-to-head duel for the season-ending title with the man driving this 5-second machine, John Force. John Force, the clown prince of the sport, always ready with a shot-from-the-hip joke, but still a man dedicated to the pursuit of victory.
This world championship may come once in a man's career. I told my crew chief this morning we come here with more firepower than anybody really needed to win, but we're definitely going for it today for ourselves.
And this is the man to whom Force was speaking, Austin Coyle. He has grasped the championship twice before, but never with this team. He is a man perfectly willing to do whatever it takes to win, regardless of the cost.
Normally, we have to worry about parts usage because this is a very expensive sport. It could break almost anyone. But we come to Indy loaded up on everything conceivable, and we don't care if we have to use it all just to get to the winner's circle.
Indy, the most magic of all words to a drag racer. The U.S. Nationals at Indianapolis. Ed McCulloch has won here 4 times, but in spite of 3 decades of racing, has yet to take his first overall title.
The NHRA Winston World Championship is something that I've never won, and something that has always been way down deep that I wanted to do, and if we're going to do it, we have to make a big step today.
Guiding Ed down the championship trail is veteran crew chief Bernie Federley. His approach to racing is steady, his quiet leadership the hallmark of the entire team effort.
We possibly take a little more conservative approach in the parts. So far, it's worked well for us during the season, but right at this point, we're starting to think if we need to be pressing a little harder. We'll see today. I mean, we're going to press hard today, believe me.
In the ranks of the top fuel dragsters, the battle for the ultimate bragging rights, just as last year, comes down to the man driving this car, defending champion Gary Ormsby, and his longtime nemesis, 2-time former champion Joe Amato. The good humor man of the drag strip. Amato's sunny disposition has lulled many a competitor into a false sense of security.
We're out here, we're real serious about it, but we also have a little fun and try not to let the pressure drive you crazy. You've got to kind of like take it a little bit light, but be real serious when you go to the starting line.
Balancing Joe's lighthearted philosophy is the team's crew chief, Tim Richards, a wealth of automotive intellect characterized by his usually businesslike demeanor.
We'll just go our own road and do what this car is capable of. It hasn't gone anywhere near what it's capable of, and we keep finding things that are wrong with it, and we've been stumbling ever since we got here. But either we're going to find it soon or we're going to find ourselves on the outside.
The target of Tim's concern, this man, Gary Ormsby. He takes Amato's passion and turns it inward, approaching each contest with cold calculation.
Actually, we're in a little tighter battle right now than we were last year. If it wasn't Joe, it'd be somebody else, but we are getting a little sick of looking at Joe Amato all the time.
And finally, Lee Beard, the resident wizard of the Ormsby camp. Innovation personified. A man who fully understands the tenuous margin separating victory from defeat.
This particular race, you try to put your car right on the edge. And when we're talking an edge, we're saying like an edge of a razor blade. So it's going to be one of those days where you're going to have to watch every move you make.
8 men, 4 sets of dreams, and 2 titles at stake. As NBC Sports presents the 36th annual NHRA U.S. Nationals. Today is absolutely perfect. This is Indianapolis Raceway Park in Clermont, Indiana, the site of the greatest event in drag racing. Hello, everybody. I'm Charlie Jones, and NBC Sports is proud to bring you the 36th U.S. Nationals. This event is the sport's oldest, most prestigious, and by far its richest outing. More than $1.5 million will be contested today by man and machine over a quarter mile of pavement. And all year long, it's been a real dogfight in the funny car division. For that story, let's go to Steve Evans.
Charlie, there has been a battle going all year long for the season-end funny car championship between Ed McCullough and that man, John Force. But here at Indianapolis, Force's biggest enemy is not McCullough. It's his own race car, because it is trying to hurt him. For some unknown reason, the machine has a very, very short fuse. It will run quicker than any other car here, but right at the finish line, it explodes. At the last race in Brainerd, Minnesota, this was John Force qualifying. A tremendous engine explosion. John was unhurt other than a singed fire suit and a bruised shoulder. The crew worked all night putting a new body on the car and put him in the winner's circle come Sunday. No one thought that that drama could be topped. Until yesterday. This was John Force winning $50,000 in the Big Bud Shootout, but again, a four-wheel volcano. Now, you would think that all of that would get John down. You obviously don't know the one they call brute force.
Next to winning Indy in the World Championship, this is the next best thing, and we won. I took my foot out and she popped, but my job was to keep her off the wall, and I'm real excited about it.
Now you've got a crew with a lot of work ahead of them. The finals of the U.S. Nationals coming tomorrow.
I got a crew with a lot of heart. We got a brand new car. This chassis is fine. I kept her off the fence. I finally did my job for once. I even hit the fire bottles. It was great. Somebody ought to give Coyle oxygen, because they ain't as bad as he thinks.
And as John Force began his never-ending celebration with the crowd, the crew once again went to work. And under the moonlit Indiana skies, like the Phoenix, yet another funny car rose from the ashes. While the car was being repaired, did the crew happen to find the problem? Apparently not. Up against Jim Murphy in round one earlier today, Force won. Again, a floor bank at the finish line, a relatively small fire. No big problem. The problem may come in round number two when John goes head-to-head with Ed McCullough. And you know, there's an even tighter points battle going on in the top fuel category. Here's Don Garlis to tell us about it.
Well, Steve, the big story in top fuel is there's no car in Gary Ormsby's pit. It's in the hauler, it's loaded, it's ready to take the long trip home. In a surprise upset in round one, Gary smoked the tires right off the starting pad, and an unknown Wayne Bailey advances to the second round. A situation that often occurred to me. He qualified number one with a 499, very powerful car, but that was under different weather conditions. Today it's hot. The track was not quite as sticky. They didn't take enough power out. They smoked the tires. I talked to a philosophical Lee Beard.
Well, anytime you race automobiles, you have to expect that there's going to be high points in your career and there's going to be low points in them. Today was definitely a low point for us. Today I just didn't know where I was.
Well, Gary Ormsby and Lee Beard both know as they leave the premises that this presents a great opportunity for Joe Amato to take the points lead. In fact, if he beats LaHaye in the next round, he will become the points leader. If he goes on to win the event, he will have over a 400-point lead in the Winston Championship.
And here are the current point standings after round one. Ormsby, 11,990. Amato, 11,840. And then LaHaye, Johns, and Snow.
It's time for round two of top fuel action. And here is Wayne Bailey of Lake Orion, Michigan, the man that beat Gary Ormsby, a rookie here at Indy in a home-built car. This was the scene at the far end as Amato became his biggest fan.
Let's see if we can do anything about it now, Steve. You know, we got a little chance here to make up some room and try and get the lead. That's a lot of pressure, buddy.
Joe sees the opportunity. Wayne Bailey's opponent in this round will be Laurie Johns, a three-time winner this year from Corpus Christi, Texas. The man she's racing, Wayne Bailey, barely qualified, had tears of joy in his eyes, and then being up to the challenge of Gary Ormsby, well, he's got to be high as they come right now. Wayne Bailey ready. Laurie Johns is now ready. And it's a beautiful start. But it's Laurie Johns taking the victory over Wayne Bailey.
And we'll continue with our second round coverage of the NHRA U.S. Nationals in just a moment.
This NBC Sports Special, the NHRA U.S. Nationals, is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Fram Oil Filters. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. By Goodyear Eagle Radials, the best-selling performance radials in the world. And by Budweiser. With that clean, crisp, cold taste that makes it the king of beers, nothing beats a Bud.
Welcome back to Indianapolis Raceway Park and the 36th U.S. Nationals.
And you're riding along with Kenny Bernstein, who dominated funny car competition for 4 consecutive years. But since moving to Top Fuel this year, well, he's found it pretty tough. He and crew chief Dale Armstrong have only seen one final round, and they lost that. The man they're racing, Michael Brotherton, he out-qualified Bernstein here. He's tough.
Little pieces of material are coming off the supercharger drive belt, the all-important belt that turns that blower. See, they're getting on the injector. The starter is determined it's not a safety problem, but this could be a big problem for Michael Brotherton.
And it could be a big break for Kenny Bernstein. Let's see if the belt stays on the supercharger when Brotherton in the near lane applies all of that horsepower. So far, so good. Now it slips right off. Kenny Bernstein, 520, 268 miles per hour. He'll be thrilled with the win, but not particularly tickled with the performance of the automobile. Kenny Bernstein gliding down the shutdown area, parachute out, brakes applied, everything safe and sane down there.
Meanwhile, back in the funny car pits, Force's crew and John are working on their blower problem, Don.
Well, you know, they've been pumping that blower every run. They have to put a new one on, and they test the engine and flip the throttle a couple of times, just checking it out. It always seems to work well in the pits.
That's right. It's only when he gets off the throttle at the finish line, Don. Why can't they find him?
It's a very difficult situation, but they're leaving no stone unturned. This next opponent, Ed McCullough, is going to be a tough egg.
And Steve, it has to be tough getting into a car that you know that has a 50-50 chance of blowing up.
Well, one man who doesn't have that problem is Joe Amato. We see his crew chief, Tim Richards, backing him up right now. The challenge for Amato, just get this win like right now. He'll take the points lead away from Ormsby and then worry about the rest of the U.S. Nationals. But the man who hopes to spoil that for Joe is a long-time adversary, Dick LaHaye from Lansing, Michigan. LaHaye has only won one event this year, but consistency has got him the 3rd place in the points. His crew chief is Goddard Kemp. Joe Amato, Old Forge, Pennsylvania, businessman, racer, wants to join Don Garlits and Shirley Muldowney. Is the only 3-time Winston champs in Top Fuel.
That's true. Dick LaHaye qualified well here with a 5.06. He is very capable of putting Amato out.
And has had no mechanical problems at all and doesn't have any hair. LaHaye overpowers the racetrack. Amato, 5.06, 275 miles per hour. Joe Amato has wrenched the Top Fuel points lead away from Gary Ormsby. Charlie?
One of the stories that has captivated both this huge crowd and the racing world at large is that of a young man seriously injured this past April. 1 year ago today, Darrell Gwynn was the happiest man on the grounds, having just won the U.S. Nationals Top Fuel title. But for the past 5 months, his every effort has been directed not toward the sport he loves, but to his very survival. It happened on April 15th during an exhibition run at Santa Pot Raceway in Bedfordshire, England, northwest of London. All Darrell intended was a half-track checkout run when tragedy struck. The car violently shredding apart and hitting the wall. Gwynn's injuries were massive, resulting in the loss of the lower half of his left arm, as well as significant paralysis. Since that dreary day in the British Isles, Darrell has clung to one dream: to return to the site of his greatest victory, Indianapolis.
Ladies and gentlemen, your defending champion, Darrell Gwynn.
Today, that dream came true as Darrell Gwynn was welcomed home.
Never thought I'd be welcome here to the U.S. Nationals like I have been this weekend. I knew everybody'd be glad to see me, but not in the way and the shape and the form and the love and the care that they have all shown this weekend. Between that, my car running so good, and everybody behind us, it's been a real dream come true for me because I set a goal to be here, and here I am.
Darrell Gwynn, a very courageous young man who has accomplished his goal.